Welcome to Roaming with Restless Women, real talk with wise, dynamic women leaders. I'm your host, Julie Noonan, CEO and founder of Intuitive Wisdom Coaching, and I'm living my dream life. I live and work in my RV, coaching senior women leaders as they navigate corporate politics, family drama, and personal goals to live their own dream lives. These women are restless. They are never done seeking new opportunities, learning, and creating value in the world. If you'd like to apply to be on the show, stick around to the end and I'll let you know how. Let's go. Good morning and welcome to Roaming with Restless Women. Today I have Joanne Greene. Joanne never bought the adage, little girls should be seen and not heard. Neither did I, Joanne, that's for sure. She's used her voice on San Francisco radio and television, you can tell when she talks, webinars and podcasts to explore the issues of our time with playful irreverence, candor, and compassion. Now, with many decades of seasoning, as she says, she's sharing what she's learned about navigating family and career and moving through pain and loss. Currently, Joanne hosts a podcast, In This Story, where she shares her micro essays set to music, showcasing tales and observations from her very animated life. I love that. She writes press, has published her first book, By Accident, a memoir of letting go, in which Joanne emerges from life-threatening calamities with a big fat smile and a heap of hope. Good morning, Joanne. I'm so happy to have you here.
And I'm very happy to be here. Thanks so much for extending the invitation.
Oh, I love it. So you are obviously very experienced. You have been in San Francisco and in the radio show hosting, podcasting. So I'm a little intimidated, but
Don't be.
I'll try to catch up with you.
It's just two gals having a conversation.
Sounds great to me. All right. So tell me about your life as your career progressed, why you decided to go into radio show, broadcasting, etc. Tell me about that.
Sure. I grew up just outside of Boston and was very different than the other members of my family who were all very linear math majors. My brother and sister both majored in math. I was the complete opposite. I had been writing and producing plays in my backyard with the neighborhood kids. And decided somewhere along the line that I wanted to be an actress and ended up going to school initially as a theater major. I went as far away from home as they would let me. They gave me a 1,000-mile limit and I went to Northwestern, just outside of Chicago.
Yep.
And shortly thereafter realized theater was not for me and got involved in radio, television, and film, which I loved. And later transferred schools and I was shy one credit and I saw a sign on the wall that said that you could work at the radio station for one credit. And I thought, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So I applied and had a radio show on my second college campus. And then that combined with my writing, which I'd always done, sort of set me up for when I graduated and moved to California, embarking on a whole new life.
Yeah.
I initially tried getting jobs in radio as a copywriter. And so that's how it began. But I began to produce radio shows and this was in the 1970s, the mid 1970s. So I was doing feminist talk shows, a show called Women Making Waves. It was a play on airwaves and stirring up trouble, which we were doing. And there were just so many topics to explore. And one thing led to another. So I was in radio in the Bay Area for about 20-something years and have always been a writer and have always been a person with enormous amounts of energy and also feeling the need to be in constant motion. And I'm sure that many of the women who listen to Roaming with Restless Women can relate. If we keep moving, we can assure ourselves that everything's fine. If we keep accomplishing, We can stave off the loneliness. We can stave off the pain. We can stave off all the stuff that we've swept under the rug. So,
Yeah.
big, long radio career, then ended up becoming a director of a department at a nonprofit, which
Mhm.
involved producing programs for the public. Did that for some period of years. And I was the youngest of three children by a mile. My parents were not planning to have a third child. So my entire existence is an accident. So thus it's a play on words, my title by accident, because it refers both to me and to what happened to me after I was in a devastating accident. I
Oh,
was walking across the street in broad daylight in a crosswalk. A car had stopped for me. And just as I got in front of her, a truck came at 50 miles an hour and slammed into her, which caused her to slam into me. I flew up in the air, landed on the hood of her car. She was catapulted down the street for about 50 yards, and then I fell off onto the street alive. And that's all I knew. I was
oh,
conscious. I didn't ever lose consciousness, but I was in shock and couldn't move. And that is how the book begins. Literally
my
how the book begins.
goodness.
And I mean, I can read you just
Yes, I would love
a
that.
sentence or two so that you get this sense of the drama. As I step onto the crosswalk, there's a sudden deafening sound, an explosion maybe. Then I'm airborne, thrown onto the hood of a car. What the hell? I silently scream to the universe or God or no one. Seriously. All I can hear is an ear-splitting cacophony. All I feel is wild, uncontrolled movement. Stop the car, stop the car. The car is catapulted down North San Pedro Road, my head banging against its windshield. I slip off the hood onto the ground, alive. I can't move, can't speak. I lift my head and blink my eyes a few times. Things come into focus. To
Oh,
my right, people crowd the sidewalk, staring at me with their mouths open in horror, like in Munch's painting. I hear someone yelling, "Oh my God, oh my God." I slowly turn my head in the direction of the sound, but see nameless faces. Cars are turned in different directions. People are running toward me. I'm lying splayed in the middle of the street and feel my short cotton print dress hiked up, naked thighs
oh,
on display, like that
oh.
matters. I keep blinking, but the scene doesn't change. So that's just
Woo.
that's how it starts.
Oh my goodness.
I
And how old were you when this happened?
58.
Oh my goodness.
This is October 3rd, 2012. I was heading home to watch the presidential debate between then candidate Barack Obama and Mitt Romney.
Yes.
So to place it in history
Wow.
for everyone to imagine
Yeah.
where they were right around then. Now, complicating this is that my husband of, let's see, next week we will be married 45 years. So my beloved
Congratulations.
husband, thank you, at age 7, woke up to find out that his parents had been killed in a car accident by a head-on collision with a
Oh
drunk
my,
driver.
oh my gosh.
So the worst call for him to ever receive is that his wife has just been hit by a car and he needs to go to the hospital and meet her there.
Ugh.
So I was very damaged, 4 pelvic fractures, the whole right side of my body, all the soft tissue was crushed. I was
Ugh.
hospitalized for 5 days and then came home with a hospital bed and a wheelchair and unable to move. And as someone who had always been fiercely independent and done everything not only for herself, but for everyone else,
Right.
I suddenly could do nothing. I couldn't get myself to the bathroom. I could not feed myself. I could do nothing. And so began a period of personal growth for me that has been unprecedented and has set me up to be able to deal with the inevitable blows that will come my way in the future. And as luck would have it, shortly thereafter, this. So this recovery took about a year and a half.
Oh my
At the
goodness.
2 year mark, not to do spoiler alerts here, but at the 2 year mark, I go for my what's the 60-year-old colonoscopy with absolutely no symptoms. And they say, Mrs. Greene, when it looks like this, we're pretty sure it's cancer. And it was.
Oh my gosh.
So again, spoiler alert, I'm fine. I'm fine from all of it. They caught it
Oh,
early
that's
enough. I had a
good.
major surgery, but there were a series of things that kept happening that gave me the opportunity to practice the skills that I had developed out of necessity because I wasn't going to fold. It
Yeah.
was absolutely out of the question. As the car's hitting me, I've just come out of a period of time where I've lost, and I cannot make this up. My mother and my sister died within 5 months. And a couple of years later, my brother died out of nowhere. So I've just lost and my dad had died a long time ago. So I had just lost my entire family. I thought I've been to hell and I'm now
Yeah.
back and I can function and go to work again. And then what happens? I get hit by a car, literally hit by a car. So when I said seriously, in
Yeah.
that's really what my whole body and self and mind were saying. It's like, oh, now this. And almost immediately something kicked in and my inner strength, my I don't know what said, all right, let's do this. And that became my mantra. And that's how I got through. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Whatever juncture along the way. And there were many setbacks, as
Mhm.
there are with these things. It's not linear progress. I would always say, I can do this one step at a time. And there were many other things that I learned also. And again, it wasn't a linear path of growth. There were
Right.
setbacks, and there still are. And I don't have all the answers, but I have some answers that I think can help other people because
Mm-hmm.
what we know for sure is that shit happens. I hope you don't mind my using that
Oh
word.
no, not at all. You say it because that's exactly what it
Stuff will,
was.
right? Stuff
Yeah.
will happen in our lives. We will
Mm-hmm.
experience loss. We will have failures. We will have injury, illness, all of these kinds of things, if not to ourselves, to our loved ones. And
Yes.
and we can't control that. But what we can control is how we respond and what we do in the aftermath and how we move through the period of time where you, every day you're tempted to just like fold, like in a card game,
Yes.
you're tempted to just go, I'm out. That's it. I
Yeah.
can't handle this. And you can do that. That's a choice, but you sure won't have the amazing life that I have now post all of those things. And so I wrote this book. Initially, I was writing it for friends and family, and then the more I worked on learning the craft of memoir writing, I'd always been
Mm-hmm.
a writer, but I didn't know how to be that kind of a writer. I was
Right.
a journalist,
Mm-hmm.
just the opposite. Journalist, your feelings don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about objectivity. Well, a memoir is the opposite. A memoir is entirely about your feelings, and it's about learning to write in scene and learning to write dialogue and learning to write in such a way that the reader will find herself in your story, even when
Yeah.
you didn't get hit by a car or have a cancer diagnosis. So as I worked on it, it was a 5-year process. I finally thought, hey, this is really getting better. I kept,
Mm-hmm.
and I hired a developmental editor and blah, blah, blah. And the book, suddenly it seemed like, well, maybe this could have more appeal than just to the people who know me. So I ended up publishing with She Writes Press, which is a feminist press, which was a great experience, a phenomenal experience, because we were a cohort of women whose books were all being published at the same time, and we supported one another in a major way. And
Oh,
lots of sharing of best practices, promoting each other's work, showing up for each other's launch events. Um, and, we often think about what would an ideal world look like, and I'm determined to try to create it around
there
me.
you go. Yeah, not give in is one of those.
Well, not giving
Don't
in is one.
fold, don't
No, don't
fold.
fold. The thing is, there were a number of things that my mom said to me over the years when I was growing up, and perhaps you'll relate. I would roll my eyes, like,
Oh,
count your
yeah.
blessings. Oh,
Yeah.
how corny. Okay, can I just say, you cannot hold despair and gratitude at the same time, and gratitude
Correct.
will win. So if
Yes.
you say, yes, I've been hit by a car and I have 4 pelvic fractures, but at least I have a loving husband who works from home and can take care of me. At least I'm not going to lose my house because I've lost my income.
Right.
At least I have the resources to get physical therapy, psychological therapy, because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to be stuck in that trauma mindset.
Oh, no,
You
no.
are if you don't do the work. So I had many things to be thankful for.
This episode is sponsored by me. So, as a special gift to you, our listeners, I offer a free one-on-one 15-minute breakthrough session. Bring a problem and experience how coaching works to see if it could be of value to you. Sign up for an available time on my website, intuitivewisdomcoach.com.
We talk to ourselves all the time.
All the time.
We give ourselves messages. Unfortunately, many of those messages are not helpful. We
Correct.
say things like, who do you think you are? Why is it that you think you can do this?
Right.
You've pulled the wool over everybody's eyes, but you're really a piece of garbage and you know nothing. All of that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
not helpful. Or the kind of perseverating that we do. We get into a thought loop and we just go round and round on the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. And what if this happens? And what if this happens? And what if this happens? All of it it holds you back. And so
Self-fulfilling.
what
Yeah.
I share in my talks is, and by the way, I'm happy to, come and be a speaker anywhere because it's very uplifting. I say, speak to yourself like you would speak to your best friend.
Yeah.
Would you ever say that to someone you love? Well, remember that you love yourself, or try to cultivate some love for yourself, and then be compassionate and be empowering and be a cheerleader. And so when I said over and over again, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I didn't believe it at the beginning. But if you
Mm-hmm.
say it enough, you start to believe it. And that's what started happening. Another one that I got from my mom that I rolled my eyes about is, this too shall pass. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it turns out I learned not too long ago that it is an ancient thing. I'm Jewish, and it's in the Talmud, which is one of our most ancient texts. In Hebrew, it's Gam ze ya'avor. This too shall pass. It is something we're supposed to say when we're in physical pain, emotional pain, terror, fear, whatever, because it's a moment. The next moment may be
Yes.
worse, but it's the one thing we can count on is change. It won't stay
Yes.
exactly like this. You will have a different experience coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in grief in particular, grief is
Yeah.
something I've learned a lot about just by personal experience and a lot of reading and a lot of talking to people. There are no shortcuts. You have to go through grief. And if you try not to, you'll pay a price later. One
Mm-hmm.
way or another, it's going to get you. So you might as well do it at the time and take the appropriate amount of time and space to feel it through. But when you're in it, you feel like it's always going to be like this. I am
Yeah.
never going to be able to, for instance, hear a Motown song and not think of my sister and start sobbing, because we used to dance to Motown together. Well, now she's been gone for 18 years, and I don't cry when I hear Motown anymore. I am filled with positive memories. Why? Because that moment passed, and I wallowed in it. I cried and cried and cried and wrote about it and spoke about it and did
Mm-hmm.
all of what you need to do. And that's not to say that I don't miss her terribly every day. I do.
Of
And
course.
it's not to
Yeah.
say that there aren't days still when I cry. I do. But
Yeah.
overall, I'm way beyond that grief now. And because this too shall pass. And so, and another one was, my mom used to say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, which I'm not sure how much wisdom there is in that, but I will say if you feel like you can do anything, like
Mm-hmm.
really anything, it's empowering. And it gives
Yes.
you that added boost, that added inner strength to be able to meet the challenges along the way and say, all right, I've gotten this disappointment, but I'm not going to fold, like we say, not going to fold.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hang in there and I'm going to try another route.
Well, and it adds to confidence. And your confidence is a lot of times what people see. And when they see that confidence, they're more likely to trust in you and they're more likely to help you. They're more likely to want to engage with you. And then the more people that want to engage with you, the more confidence you have and the more you know you've got support. So I think it's all a matter of that self-fulfilling prophecy of whatever you put out, you're going to get back. And if you're putting out negative all the time, you're going to get that back all the time.
Why is
So
that so difficult for some people to understand?
I think I was born kind of a pessimist, to be honest with you. I always looked and I always saw the things that could go wrong. And it's just, I don't know if it was how I was raised or, how whatever happened, but it took me a long time to realize that looking only for the things that could go wrong would make them happen. And it took me a long time to realize that. But once I did, then I started looking for all the things that could go right. And once that happened, then things started to go right. Not that,
It's really
I
that
didn't
simple.
have it is that simple. It's the energy that you put out in the universe, and you'll get the same back because people
It's
will
so
mirror
true.
what you're doing. And it's a great lesson for leaders. I work with senior women leaders as a coach, and it's a great lesson for them to understand.
I want to talk for a minute about what you were saying of being a pessimist or seeing the cup as half full.
Yeah,
I think anxiety, which is probably what was at the root of that,
probably.
we
Yeah.
we have anxiety for a reason. It's so that we know to have that fight or flight instinct when
Mm-hmm.
there's a big monster coming at us. We
Yeah.
don't just say, "Hi, how are you?" We leave.
Yeah.
But I think what becomes difficult for human beings is distinguishing between reality and thoughts. And the thoughts
Mm-hmm.
that are like, and then this could happen, and then this could, all of that. I call it monkey mind. It just like
Yes.
you get in a like a hamster wheel almost.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and this is something that my sister's therapist taught her like 20, 30 years ago, and I
Mm-hmm.
just latched onto it. Ask yourself to reiterate in those moments, what do you know to be true?
Mm-hmm.
Well, for instance, I have that colonoscopy, and then they say, we think when it looks like this, it's probably cancer, but we have to wait for the results of the biopsy to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, my mind is, I have colon cancer. I'm going to die of colon cancer. My hair's going to fall out. I'm going to be
Oh,
like,
yeah, everything.
I went right down that road. And then I stopped myself because I had done all this work in the previous couple of years. And I said, what do I
Yeah.
know to be true? I know that there was a polyp. I know that that polyp looked suspicious. That's what I know. That's all I know. Well, then I got the call that it was cancer. And then I had to have the same conversation with myself. What do I
Mm-hmm.
know? I know that I'm going to have surgery. That's all I know. I don't know that I'm going to need chemo. I don't know that this is going to be stage 2, 3, or 4. It could be
Mm-hmm.
stage 1. I don't know. Therefore, I'm going to focus on the surgery. I'm going to focus
Mm-hmm.
on a good outcome. What do I need to do to prepare myself to be in the right mindset to not freak out? Because that
Yeah.
is
That's not
not
going to do
helpful.
you any good, right? Yep. Yep.
I wanted to read you another little excerpt.
Oh, yeah,
This is the
absolutely.
beginning of chapter 2. It's just a paragraph. Being hit by a car is not my first blow, although it's probably the most literal, and it won't be my last, but it will be a catalyst for me, a sudden graphic stop to my constantly in motion existence, my need to produce and achieve to feel worthy of love, my need to control everything because I've believed that it would make me safer. It will be the test that finally teaches me that my needs are masks and that control is an illusion. I've had plenty of opportunities, losses, hard ones, to learn to let go, but I grieved my losses and went right back to my old ways. The accident has stripped me, made me totally dependent on others, put cracks in my bones, and revealed cracks in my armor. I can't go back to my old ways, not easily anyway. Over time and through a series of other physical and emotional challenges, I will discover that losing control can be the best way to truly gain it. Letting go means letting in light, revealing my real power, and finally feeling that deep sense of peace that I'd been desperate to find.
That is beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
it speaks directly to how to use everything that happens to you to build the life that you're supposed to have instead of the life you're trying to force to happen. We spend a lot of our lives trying to force things to happen or try to avoid things from happening. And if we
Blaming.
would, and blaming, shaming, judging, all of those negative things. And if we just let life
Feeling like
happen.
a victim. I mean, I think that's another tricky one.
Oh, yes,
Like,
yes.
just because this happened to me doesn't mean anybody owes me anything. And
Well,
I needed to
yeah.
learn that some people who love me still behaved badly. They did not know how to show up for me for whatever their reasons. And I didn't, it's not important for me to know that, although, of course, I speculated ad
Mm-hmm.
nauseum. But like, why aren't they showing up? Why aren't they calling me? They've moved on. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's all there in the first week or two,
Oh,
right? They
yeah.
all show up right at the beginning because it's the drama, it's the news. But then it's yesterday's news. And I'm still
Mm-hmm.
broken and lying here in pain and not able to do anything. So, one of the many things I learned is that everybody's different. And
Yeah.
if I choose to accept somebody even though they didn't behave in a way that I wanted them to, then that's my decision of whether to continue to be in relationship with them or not. But it doesn't mean the
Yeah.
relationship ends necessarily.
Right.
So everybody has different needs for privacy, some people more than others. I have
Mm-hmm.
none. That's just me. All these different
Yeah.
things. And I made a list of all the things that I learned, and I have it up in the inside of my medicine cabinet. So I see it every day.
Every day. Oh,
And
that's
it's been a
beautiful.
lot of years. We're coming up on, it's like 12 and a half years since this happened. And
Wow.
I still need to remind myself, slow down. You
Yeah.
don't need to rush through life. You're going to be much safer at a more comfortable, adjusted pace. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just about how much I accomplish in a day, but how I do what I do that matters.
Yes. Okay, so we're coming too close to the end, so I'm going to ask my three questions that I ask everybody. The first question requires that you close your eyes just for a moment. In your mind's eye, describe what you see when I say the words wise woman. And you can open your eyes.
I see, it was not a woman I know. I
Hmm.
saw the face of a woman with lots of wrinkles and like, which I think of as the visual signs of wisdom. That when
Hmm.
this nameless older woman was content.
Where do you like to roam?
I am a person who loves to roam in nature.
Hmm.
And I've always felt this way, but I've embraced it in a major way now. And I have become a certified nature and forest therapy guide because I
Oh,
hike and I
nice.
know
Yeah.
that I'm not going to be able to hike forever. Focus on one thing at a time. So maybe you're focusing on color or texture
Mm.
or what's in motion, for instance. And incredible things happen. And
Right. Final question. What makes you restless in a good way?
Ooh, everything in my case. Really almost everything. So
Mhm.
I read what's going on in the world. I want to get out there and do something about it.
Yeah.
My thing is that I always need to remember that I can't do it all. I
Yeah.
used to pretend that I could do it all, and I would get myself in trouble. I would get myself sick because I tried to do too much.
Yeah.
And now it's more a matter of saying, okay, pick. What are you going to focus on? Where are you going to, excuse me, put your efforts? But I'm just not someone who can sit around and do nothing. I am constantly moved to volunteer with this or with that, or do this, or
Mhm.
start something new, or learn something new, or go on a trip. And so, what makes me restless, I would say in a good way, is my curiosity.
Julie Noonan here. Thank you so much for listening to Roaming with Restless Women. If you're a successful senior woman leader who would like to be on this program, please visit podcast.intuitivewisdomcoach.com. If you enjoyed this interview, please share this episode on social media and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Your thumbs ups and reviews go a long way.